Hey, what's up guys? This is John with Ironwork Fitness. Today we're going to be going over some stretching and activation exercises for your kettlebell workout. All of these exercises are kind of based around getting the glutes and the shoulders to move a little bit better. So we're going to be stretching out the hip flexors, we're going to be stretching out the piriformis, we're going to be activating the glutes, and we're also going to be working on the shoulders to make sure you've got some good mobile scapulae so that when you reach overhead, you're not going to be cranking on your lower back. The first stretch that I like to teach people is probably the most important stretch on the list. You could nix the other 7 and not even notice. I mean, you notice, but this is the most important one that you want to do. This is the hip flexor stretch. And what you're going to do is you're going to take a 90-90 lunge. So both your knees are at 90 degrees. You're going to squeeze your glutes and you're going to start bringing your whole pelvis forward. So your pelvis and your knee are both going to start tracking forward while this knee stays on the floor. If you want to get a slightly more intense stretch, you can raise this arm, or you can also have a training partner start pulling your foot upwards like that, and that'll stretch your hip flexors out a little bit more, and just hold that stretch for about 20 to 30 seconds as you come forward from the pelvis and the knees, keeping your glutes tight so that you're not focusing on your low back. Stretch number 2 is going to be something called threading the needle, and what you're going to do that, you're going to lay on your back. You're going to bring one knee forward and cross the other leg right here. Actually, let me do it this way so you can see it better. So I'm bringing my left knee forward and I've got my right foot crossed across my knee. This hand goes through the hole that's made by your legs, and then this hand just wraps around the knee. And you should feel a pretty good stretch on the outside. Stretch out the piriformis, get the glute med to fire a little bit better. And the third stretch in the series, take my recording device, put it back in my pocket. The third stretch in the series is going to be the kneeling lat stretch. And this, once we get the lats good and stretched out, this is going to start improving the mobility up in your shoulders. I've got a bench right here that I'm going to use. I'm kneeling. I put my knees on the bench and push my torso down, just like that. Get those lats nice and stretched out. Once you've done those 3 stretches, those are the most important ones in my opinion, you can kind of start working on your mobilization drills. Mobilization drill number 1 is going to be something called I call it the sprinkler. Other smarter men have come up with better, more catchy names like quadruped shoulder mobilization drill. I just call it the sprinkler because it's easier to remember. What you're going to do is you're going to be on all fours just like this. Take one hand, put it behind your head, and then you're going to reach your elbow towards your hand and then twist to try and bring your chest that way, towards that wall. So you're going to reach down, your elbow towards the hand, open up. Reach down, open up. And you're trying to feel a burn between your shoulder blades, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to get your shoulder blades to move forward and backward across the rib cage. Trying to kind of open up in that kind of a motion horizontally this way. Yeah, that's what you're shooting for. You want to get those scapula to start moving around because they need to be able to move if you're going to go and snatch a kettlebell overhead. Mobilization drill number 2 is something called the fire hydrant or the fire hydrant circle, and it's going to become pretty apparent in a second. So you're going to come down on all fours. You're going to take one knee, bring it out just like a dog using a fire hydrant, and you're going to start making circles with your knees. You want to try and limit the movement of your torso and make it mostly about getting those hips good and warmed up. And you can do a few circles in one direction, few circles in the other. 8 to 10 circles is more than enough. You should start feeling a little burn in all the little muscles that surround the hip, and just kind of get those hips mobilized and activated. Mobilization drill number 3 is something called a plank to pike. This is going to start getting you a little bit more comfortable overhead. It's something I stole from a yoga sequence. Couldn't tell you the name of the sequence, but it's something long and Indian sounding, so I just call it the plank to pike. And all it is, you take a plank position or a push-up position, then you push back and try and get your heels to touch the floor. You're going to feel a real good stretch in the calves and the hamstrings, and you're going to start getting those scapula to go overhead. There are other more flexible people than I am. Don't think that that's the limit of where your flexibility should be. It's something that you got to work on. But it'll open up your calves, it'll open up your shoulders, it'll get your shoulders moving, and it's going to make overhead pressing, snatching, get-ups, and all of those associated exercises a lot easier. We got 2 more exercises on the list, glute bridges and dead bugs. These you're going to perform on your back. A glute bridge is a great way to start activating your glutes, and all you're going to do is lay on your back, plant your feet on the floor, squeeze your glutes to come up off the ground, just like that. 2 or 3 sets of 8 with a nice little pause at the top. Great way to get the glutes mobilized and firing. If you're not feeling the burn in your butt and you're feeling it in your lower back, that just means you need to squeeze your butt harder. I always tell people, imagine they're trying to crack a walnut with their ass cheeks. That usually does the trick. The last drill I got on here is the dead bug. This is one of my favorites for the abs and to start correcting anterior pelvic tilt. If you sit down at a desk a lot, this exercise feels great. I stole it from Mike Robertson, I believe. And what you're going to do is you're going to lay on your back. Again, knees up, hands up. And the trick to this exercise is flattening out your spine right here. I can't get my hand underneath my back. Most people, they're going to have a big gap right here. And when you turn your abs on, it brings your knees forward and it closes that gap. From here, just reach your ankle towards the floor while keeping your back nice and flat. Just like that. If that's too easy, you can straighten out your leg and go all the way out. And you'll notice that when you get to the bottom of the rep, your voice kind of sounds like Stevie Nicks. And, and that's how you know you're getting it right. Your whole lower half is going to be shaking. And that's how you know that you're getting a good contraction there in the abs. At least that's the way I always explain it. A couple other different ways you can do it. You can be on your back. You can reach all the way out and then bring the opposite hand overhead. Or if you're a real badass, you can go both legs at once, like that. Great way to get those abs nice and mobilized. So it sounds like a lot, 8 different exercises. Is that how many we did? Yeah, 8 different exercises. But if you just bang them out one right after the other, you can go through the entire sequence in 5 minutes. 5 minutes of warm-up will guarantee better performance while you're actually exercising. And if all you're doing is kettlebells and you're taking 20 minutes to go blast through a wad, it's worth it to put in those extra 5 minutes, get your shoulders mobilized, get your glutes activated, get your abs turned on so that you make sure that you're hitting the muscles that you want to hit and not overcompensating with bad movement patterns. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. And like us on Facebook at ironworkfitness.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Guess that about wraps it up. Thanks, guys.